Since the collapse of the Silicon Valley Bank on Friday, U.S. Democrats and Republicans wasted no time into turning this into a political blame game. So what exactly are the accusations from both sides, and is any of it true? Let's take a closer look. Some Democrats, such as, for example, Senator Elizabeth Warren, blamed former President Donald Trump for easing regulations on mid-sized banks. In 2018, the Republican-led Congress reclassified which banks are considered too big to fail. In a bill also signed by Democrats, they increased the threshold from banks holding at least $50 billion in assets to those with $250 billion. That means only the biggest institutions could then face strict regulations, such as maintaining a certain amount of liquidity. That meant that Silicon Valley Bank, which had more than $200 billion in assets, was exempt from these rules. So could this meltdown have been prevented? Well, we asked the question to Antonio Fatas, a professor of economics.
The relaxation of those regulations in 2008 during the Trump administration, I think they were a mistake. I think, unfortunately, banks have to be heavily regulated. That's the reality. Otherwise, we end up with one crisis after another.
Other pro-Democrat Twitter accounts, such as, for example, this one, claimed that under Donald Trump, 15 banks had failed. The son of the former president hit back on Twitter saying, "I don't remember any banks collapsing under Trump." But according to the Federal Deposit Insurance Commission, there were indeed 15 bank failures under Trump's presidency. As you can see, 7 in 2017, 4 in 2019, and 4 in 2020. But it's important to note that the banks that closed under Trump were significantly smaller in size than the Silicon Valley Bank. On the Republican side, politicians such as Ronnie Jackson from Texas blamed the bank's supposed what he calls woke agenda, suggesting it invested too much money in diversity and inclusion initiatives. But according to the experts that we spoke to, this could not have created the sudden nosedive.
I don't see anything which is different from any other banking crisis. There's no woke investment. It's not that they were investing in crypto, they were investing in some crazy startups. It has nothing to do with that. This is a pure mismanagement of risk between their assets and the liability side. And again, this is almost a textbook case of how a bank should not be run.
So what now? Well, many are calling for stricter regulations on how the U.S. banking system is supervised.